before we go a lot farther in this process, I think that it is fair for you to know a little bit more about me and where I'm coming from in all of this. I am not an ordained minister or pastor. I am just an individual, a dad and a husband who, because of my own shortcomings, had that desire to strengthen my relationship with the Lord. And in doing so, I saw a lot of men that were in the same place as I was, and I just chose to start sharing my journey with like-minded men, and that is what has brought us to where we're at today. And as far as I'm concerned, because of that common shared bond, we're blood brothers. And if you ever look in the dictionary to see what the definition is, it says that blood brothers says it's an ancestral bond between like-minded individuals that share a common passion. And I think that that describes us pretty well. We are all here because we have expressed an interest to further our walk with God, strengthen that area in our lives for the betterment of our families. And that is the bond that brings us here today to this campfire. I am 51 years old. I'll be 52 in about a month. I was married when I was 29. I was married for 14 years. I have 3 beautiful children who you've seen in these videos. That marriage ended in a divorce. And that divorce was a real wake-up call for me that I was not where I needed to be as a man that was supposed to be after God's own heart, and as a husband and as a father. During the years of that marriage, I was very involved in church. I always was teaching Sunday school, leading a men's Bible study. I was a deacon at the church. But yet, that wasn't enough to shore up that marriage. And that marriage ended in a divorce. And I have to take credit for my part in that failure. And again, that wake-up call made me realize that I needed guidance, that I didn't have the wherewithal to bring about individually. I needed that spiritual guidance from God, and I needed the spiritual mentoring from good Christian men that were farther in their walk with Christ than I was. Because of that divorce and that brokenness within me, my heart and my mind was open to receive that information and that knowledge. God will always use us in our brokenness and bring about a better situation because of our willingness to follow His lead. And that was the case for me. I am now remarried. I've been married for 4 years. We have a blended family. I have a beautiful stepdaughter that was brought into my family along with my wife. And that's pretty much where I'm at today. You're going to hear me say all the time, we need a good foundation. We need a good base. We need a foundation to operate off of that is God's Word. Now I just want to show you scripturally what God's Word has to say about that. And by the way, God's holy Word is our instruction guide. This is our owner's manual. This is what we need to defer to when we have any question as to how to conduct ourselves as men. There's not a condition that we can find ourselves in that is not addressed in this book if we will only look and read. But back to this foundation thing. You know, Jesus uses the example on several different occasions of a builder who would build a home, and that the foundation that home is built on is going to determine the structural integrity of that dwelling and its ability to withstand the storm. Well, spiritually, our house, meaning us, if we're building on a strong biblical foundation, our structure is going to withstand the storms of life. And I want to read this right out of God's Word for you. Luke chapter 6, starting in verse 46, listen to the similarity. It says, "Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say? I will show you what he is like who comes to me and hears my word and puts them into practice. He is like a man building a house who dug down deep and laid the foundation on rock. When the flood came, the torrent struck the house, but could not shake it because it was well built. But the one who hears my words and does not put them into practice is like a man who built a house on the ground without a foundation. The moment the torrent struck that house, its collapse and its destruction was complete." So men, we want to make sure that our spiritual house is going to withstand the storms of life. So we're going to dig deep, and we're going to create a strong foundation in God's Word. And I just encourage you to stay with us and to take these thoughts to heart and to start now on building your spiritual foundation with God.